Yes, we shine ever so brightly in this house of love that is this space that is called our hearts, that open up so big and so widely for ourselves and for our brothers and sisters and for our spiritual community and for the world, as we shine brightly in our harmonies and in our love and in our peace and in our truth. Please join me in affirming. And so it is. We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. And now we begin the ceremony that celebrates this oneness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths come for the one universal presence, which we call spirit. Please join me in welcoming our candle lighter this morning, Jody. Ms. Jody. And there was light. And so let us begin. The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. New Thought, that's us, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The last candle is a healing candle of love. We invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone you wish to be included in this healing flame of love and light. Now that our flames of faith are fully lit, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. And so it is. So it is. Thank you, Judy. Please join me in our purpose, vision, and mission. Our purpose, our reason for being. We awaken and inspire love and oneness. Our vision, what do we want to create or become? We are an empowered, uplifting, inclusive community. And our mission, how are we going to do this? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. Today's sacred reading comes from our Science of Mind magazine from October 19th, 2020. And what about new horizons of human endeavor, the new frontiers that have not been touched? We are all individuals, and there is something you can do and something I can do that no one else could or ever will be able to do. There is an unexplored country that belongs to each one of us, and if we have faith to believe that we will be guided into this country, we shall find new avenues opening up for us that will bring something new to this world. We should expect something new to happen, and we should daily affirm that we are being guided into the pathways of self-expression in a new, creative, and dynamic manner. And so it is. So it is. you will notice, I am doing dual duty today. Thank you for being so flexible and being wonderful about seeing me in 2 different places. And if you're on camera, you might notice that there's a little lag between me getting to the cameras. But we are wishing Jessica well. She had something else going on today, and so I was asked to step forward, and I was prac of the day already. So my name is Karen Valere Sherman. I am one of the licensed practitioners here at the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and we have many people here to help you with what we call a 1-minute miracle. So if you are here in the building and would like that, you can tap Camille, Bob, Judy, Linda, too, or myself. And so we are honored and privileged to be able to offer that to you today. So just let one of us know if you would like that. And if you are not here with us, there are many other ways that you can receive prayer. You can go on to our website, and there's a place that you can click to put down what your prayer request is. And our Rev Linda gets those prayer requests to us. And we know that truth for you all week long. And then also, you can call here into the center and you can leave a message. Rev Don is usually here during the week. He will receive that message and get back to you. So there are many ways for you to receive prayer. There's also, I believe, a way that you could just ask him to connect with one of us, and he can give you our number, and we can get with you via Zoom, or we can get together with you just by a phone call. Or if people feel comfortable, they can get together in person. So there's many ways now to receive prayer. And I invite you to say yes to that opportunity, because I do that all the time. Okay, we are still in need of soundboard help. And so training is provided, and we'll add you to the Sunday rotation with our other volunteers. Please contact Rev Don if you are interested in that, or you can email him at office@CSL, Alaska.org. So please, if that is your calling, we would welcome you. We are still in need of that. And so I do not believe that there is any announcements that I have missed. Nope. But I will give you more information about our wonderful guest speaker after special music. You may recognize this song. We are singing the chorus. Let the sun shine, let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. Let the sun shine, let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. Let the sun shine, let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. Let the sun shine, let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. Thank you. Our guest speaker is the senior minister at the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. As a professional speaker, she always wants to leave her audience with pearls of wisdom. As a hypnotherapist and timeline counselor, she sees miracles. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Jody Hill Stevenson.
Thank you, Karen. Well, I'm so happy to be here with you guys. It's been a while and so much has happened, yes?
Yes.
Yes. And you all look beautiful with or without masks on. I feel a little guilty, but I'm going to keep mine off so I can breathe. Yeah, lots of changes, huh? Wow. So 2,500 years ago, the earth was birthing something that was pretty extraordinary. And it was extraordinary because there was no internet. So think about that. So over here we had in China, Lao Tzu is talking about if you want to, whoops, I've got to stay focused here. If you want to follow the way, if you want to live in harmony, you still want me over? Okay, it's over here though. You're right here, okay, all right. I'll stay right here. We're here in China, right here, and Lao Tzu is telling us that if we want to live in harmony, we have to follow the way. We have to be in touch with nature. And then over here in India, around the same time, Hinduism was telling us that a human being only has two desires, primary desires. And I so believe that's true today that my whole work is based on this. And the two desires, anybody want to take a guess? A peaceful mind and a joyful heart. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. And then over here in Greece, we have Socrates and Pythagoras creating mathematics, and all those guys that are going, no, 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 we want to live in democracy, everybody has a voice, everybody has a sense of freedom. And over here in Persia, or Iran now, the Zoroastrian religion was telling us that yes, there really is one God. And all these things were happening around the same time, give or take. Good? I'm not used to standing still, so I better stand over here. So the reason I bring this up is because all of these philosophies influence us today. Ernest Holmes studied all of these philosophies, and aren't we grateful to know the science of mind philosophy, right? How many of you were born and raised in science of mind? How many of you wished you had been raised in science of mind? Just ask it. Dr. Ernest Holmes writes, "My knowledge that the great I am is ever available gives me an increasing capacity to draw upon it and to become inwardly aware of the presence of spirit. Through the quiet contemplation of the omni-action of spirit, I learn to look quietly and calmly upon every false condition." That was one of his greatest messages to us, that everything in the outer world is a false condition, and we can change it by what? By changing our thinking. Seeing through it to the other side of the invisible reality that molds conditions and co-creates all of my affairs after the more nearly divine pattern. Isn't that Ernest Holmes? He goes on and on and on, but he's right on. So the question to ask is life different than it was 2,500 years ago? Is life today on this planet different than it was 2,500 years ago? And the answer to that is absolutely, totally, and completely no, it is not different. Truth is truth, love is love, peace is peace, joy is joy, harmony is harmony. Nothing has changed. Just as it has been in the past, it is the same today. So I asked, I'm so grateful you sang the song, and I get the effort you guys made. Thank you so much. Do y'all remember? Y'all look like you might remember. A couple of you might go, who are those fifth dimension folks? How many of you remember that wonderful song? I know, it's great. I understand your minister won an award singing that somewhere. You might ask him about it. So there are three things that block the sunshine of a peaceful mind and a joyful heart, of knowing our divinity, of being expressions of the divine. And these three things are the same ones that showed up 2,500 years ago. Let's take a look at them. The first one is arrogance. I see this all the time in my counseling office, especially with couples or family members. People will go, oh no, you're the problem. I'm not. You're the one causing the problem. And then I very, oh so not so gently say, whoa, wait a minute, there's two sides to everything. So arrogant people are self-righteous and oh so opinionated. Perhaps all of us have had these moments within ourselves. The two most obvious qualities of an arrogant person is they have a lack of gratitude and they're judgmental. How many of you have ever felt judged in your life? How many of you have ever judged another human being? Which one feels better? Does it feel better to be judged or to judge?
Be judged.
Isn't that interesting? So I would love to tell you that I have a halo on my head and that I never judge. Coming from the family I came from, many of you know what I'm talking about, chaotic, alcoholic, blah, 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 judge, sarcastic family. I know how to be judgmental, oh so quickly. But I've got to tell you, I've taken this on as a spiritual practice. And when I notice that I'm judging somebody else, I mean, really, who am I to think that somebody is living the life they shouldn't be living? What do I know? I barely know myself. So when I notice that I'm judging another human being, I stop and I send them a prayer. I have taken this on as a spiritual practice because I want to know the divine. And I don't think the divine is sitting around going, oh my God, why? They're not. It's not. We live in a loving, trusting universe. We know that. We know that at our very hearts. So, arrogant people. The second block to the sunshine of God is what I call the love of calamity. Drama, trauma, and chaos. And again, I know this one. By my husband's own admission, he is learning to transform his arrogance into compassion. I am learning how to not love calamity, drama, trauma, and chaos. Born and raised in that. People who love calamity have chaos in their homes, their finances, their relationships, and they are consumed by the past, and they are terrified of the future, which robs us, for those of us who have a tendency, that robs us from being totally and completely in the now. Emerson called these people the walking dead. You see them at the grocery store. You see them out in the world. They're just slogging through life. They are clueless that life, in its real, most harmonious, most precious place, is in the here and now. The third block of God in our everyday life is what we call materialism. So the question here to ask is, when is enough enough? Now we all know, and I gotta say it's a little bit better up here than in the lower 48. We know that we live in a culture that strives for more. Whatever we have, on TV, on the radio, out in the world, we're told we don't have enough, we need more. Do we really? The message of this sunshine block is not to have nice things and not to have money. How's that for good English? Do you get my point? It's to think, it's to know that anything in my outer world, nothing can be the source of my happiness. And some people struggle with this. A lot of people struggle. I have worked with so many people who have been out of harmony and out of balance in their everyday life. They have too much stuff. Now, it's important when we find ourselves and others who are struggling with these three blocks of sunshine to have great compassion and love. These people don't need to be judged, they need to be helped, especially the one in the mirror, especially that special one looking back at you. So life today, as it was 2,500 years ago, The Earth is spinning, traveling at 67,000 miles a minute. That's a lot. And we don't even feel it. And I will tell you that there's nothing more precious in our lives than time. Same as it was 2,500 years ago. 6 out of 10 Americans are sick. And it's because our focus is on the impermanence of wants, not the permanence of the divine. And like 2,500 years ago, our thoughts create our reality. We all know this. This is no longer New Age woo-woo information. It is scientifically proven. According to science, there are 1 trillion species on this planet. 1 trillion species. The conscious mind can't even conceive that. And according to Alberto Villardo, the great Brazilian shaman from the Four Winds Society, I've had the privilege of being in his audiences. I tell you, he is one of the most amazing speakers. And he says there's 1 trillion species on this planet, and a new one is being created. A new one is being created. It's emerging. The new species understands that the spiritual path is the path of authenticity. And there are 3 obvious values for this new species. The first one is this new species understands that the divine principle of the unlimited power is within them and focuses on the harmony of everyday life. When we focus on harmony, everything falls into place. They are constantly and consistently working on themselves, this new species, constantly and consistently. And they take time out to create a daily spiritual practice. It is one of the things that I for those of you who know, you know I push it all the time. A daily spiritual practice is so important, and the new species commits to that. We have 1,440 given minutes in every given day. And I can't tell you how many people over the years have said, you know, I'd like to do a daily spiritual practice, but I just don't have time. And of course, hopefully I'm gentle. Hopefully, I'll say, well, wait a minute. Like every other species on this planet, you have 1,440 minutes, and you get to spend those minutes any way you want. I'm just asking you to take 2 minutes to turn inward to the source of your divinity. When I started at the Portland Church of Religious Science, that's what it was called in those days, in 1987, as a senior minister, about a week after, I'm going to tell you this true story, and I will tell you I've never been able to tell this without crying. True story. About a week after I arrived, an older gentleman I'm now his age, when he walked into my office in 1987, and he said, I know that your children don't have a grandfather, and I'm wondering if I could become their Grandpa Ken. I went, wow. So he just melted into our family. He would come to the birthday parties and Christmas, and we'd all celebrate. He was so good to my 2 sons as the grandpa that they didn't have on my side of the family. So I met him when he was 71, which is the age that I'm at now. And about 3 years later, he came to me and he said, so this is what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going back to college. I went, okay. What are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to study religious science. I want to learn all about the religions. I said, okay. Now, Grandpa Ken lived on the east side of Portland, and he got accepted into Marylhurst University, which was on the west side. So Grandpa Ken had a heart condition, he had diabetes, and he could barely walk. He would kind of shuffle like this. And he would get on a bus in the morning, way over on the east side of Portland, travel downtown, change buses, and take the bus over to across the river to Marylhurst University. He did this for 3 years. Then the day came that he was graduating. So I picked him up way over here, and I drove him downtown where his ceremony was at a place called the Schnitzer. Any of you been to Portland? Have you ever been to the Schnitzer? It's the most beautiful theater. It's where all the Broadway shows when they come into town are. So, and it holds about 3,000 people, 2,800 some. So we get out of the car, he goes off to his classmates, and I find a place in the front row in the balcony because I wanted to take it all in. The ceremony started, the speakers came, the music, and then it came time to introduce the students. And these young kids just, and the stage had a stair, they ran up the stairs, they ran across it, they got their degree, and everybody was cheering. And then the dean called Kenneth Montgomery. He stands up and he kind of shuffles over to the stairs, and everyone in the whole room is like, and 3 of his classmates, his 20-year-old classmates, got up, and 2 of them got on either side and the other one got behind him. And they started, oh so slowly, helping him up the stairs. I have to tell you, there was not. You broke my, no. There was not a breath being taken in that room. And when Grandpa Ken got to the top of the stairs, the whole 3,000 people stood up and started to cheer. And I am just sobbing in the front row of the balcony. I was so proud in that moment. And the 3 kids moved aside, and Grandpa Ken kind of shuffled across the stage, and he went over to the dean, and he shook his hand, and the dean gave him his degree, and then Grandpa Ken turned around to all of us, and he went, I can't tell you what an inspiring moment that was. So after the ceremony, we went to the reception, and then as I was driving him home, I said, so Grandpa Ken, my God, you have your master's in religious studies. That's huge. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to open up, are you going to put a shingle up, or are you going to teach at a university, or what are you going to do? And he looked at me, and he went, oh no, Reverend Jody. I did this because I want to have a better consciousness next time around. About 6 months later, his family moved him back to California because he was declining. And he called me right before he passed over, about 6 months later. And he said, I'm scared. And I said, well, that's pretty common. However, I got to tell you, all those guys that you studied, Lao Tzu, Krishna, Jesus, Muhammad, all of them, they're waiting for you on the other side. He went, yeah, I think they are. I said, they are. And to this day, I feel his love for me and my family. The new species. The second virtue brings forth the behavior of unconditional love, and we actually care about each other. We actually take care of each other. We actually do things for each other, and we say kind things about each other. These people have a reverence for all of life. And what this does, it completely decreases the need for control and dominance. The very act of caring for each other causes the ego to behave wisely and not stupidly. Having a reverence for all of life brings down our need to control into observation and flexibility, our fear into trust, our need to blame and shame into compassion. I have another true story to tell you. It happened in Boulder, Colorado about 6 years ago. So there was a large church there that was getting their new minister, and they had done all their work. It takes about a year, maybe 2 years to get a new minister for the most part. So they had worked really hard, and the day came when the new minister was arriving. So, and there were quite a few people. It was a very large church in Boulder. So as people started to file into the church, they noticed that there was a street person sleeping over on the side of the front door, behind the front door. So they were walking in, they're like, well, so why doesn't the board get this guy out of here? He's filthy dirty. Oh my God, and why doesn't he just get up and go to work? And comment after comment after comment after comment. Not one person stopped to help him. So everyone's sitting, and they're excited. The music's playing, and it's pretty exciting in the air. And the board of trustees comes out on stage, and they're all standing here, and the president steps forward. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day. We have our new minister. Would you all stand and welcome Pastor..." And in walks the street person. So he comes up on stage, he takes off his he had long, dirty hair. He takes off his street garb, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have some work to do."
Amen.
He said, "Not one person stopped to help me. In fact, let me tell you the comments that I heard. People started to cry. Some people left. They were pissed. And there was not a dry eye in the place." Now, you can tell probably that this was a Christian-focused church. So he proselytized that day, and I'm pretty sure he did a really good job. And I have to tell you, as a minister, I have so much respect for this guy because I could never do that, and I would want to. I thought that was really cool. The third most defining quality of the new species is living with a deep sense of gratitude. And if you hear anything from me today, please hear this. If you want more harmony, more money, more health, more joy, more peace, more everything that the divine, the sunshine brings us, live in gratitude. I know you have all heard this quote, but it is the best of the best. And I have volumes of Thanksgiving quotes in my journals, but this is the best. Moshe Eckhart said, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." There is nothing more powerful than living a life of gratitude. And I mean, when you get into bed at night and you put your head on that pillow, you go, "Oh, I'm so grateful for this pillow. Oh, I'm so grateful for my bed." We all know that our thinking creates our reality. Yes, none of us would be sitting here. We all know that we think about 70,000 thoughts in a given day, and we are at choice to the thoughts, the quality of the thoughts we are giving. I've had the privilege of having my brain hooked up to an EEG kind of machine, and there was a needle in front of me, and they said, "Now think a negative thought." And so I thought a negative thought, and like, whoa. He said, "Now think a positive thought." I immediately thought of my two sons and my grandson, and the needle went zip. And he said, "Think another negative thought." I thought, wow, science proves it today. The new species manages their thinking with precision. Last week I was in Talkeetna, and this young girl comes up to me and says, "I'm from such and such a church in Texas or something, and we're here to interview people, and I want to know, here's one of my questions, why are we here on this planet?" I went, "Oh my God, that's so easy." She said, "It is?" They said, yeah, we are here to live in gratitude and to experience love, to give and receive. Period. End of statement. Perhaps I sound a little righteous, but I was right. She did write it down. She went, oh, I'm going to quote you. And I went, please do. So the new species that is emerging is authentically loving and compassionate, especially with the one in the mirror. Takes time, just 2 minutes a day, just 2 minutes a day to hang out with the source of our being. And the third is to live in gratitude. So I have a gift for each of you, and I ask that you only take it if you're willing to add 2 minutes to your daily spiritual practice. So it's up here, and I won't tell you what it is, but it's right here. I wrapped all of these just for you. Please take 2 minutes a day and read what's on this piece of paper. Science of Mind taught me how to think. Taoism has taught me how to live. And Buddhism has taught me how to bring myself back to now. I'd like to teach you a little, just a 30-second, 1 minute technique that if you're finding yourself being arrogant, if you're finding yourself loving the calamity in your life, if you're finding yourself going, oh, I need more and I need more, I'm going to ask you to do this one thing, and it's amazing how it brings more harmony in our lives. It's a Buddhist practice, so just go ahead and close your eyes. And I always say focus on your heart, because it's through the heart chakra that we forgive and we experience the divinity of our source. So just take a moment and say to yourself, I am breathing in and I am breathing out. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Lao Tzu once wrote, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. And so it is today that I welcome this experience of living with gratitude. May I be surprised today with awe and wonderment at the magical creative energy that is flowing through me. With attentive awareness, I move through the day calmly and kindly. I live in harmony. As I recognize my natural rhythm, I slow down. I give thanks for the very breath that I am taking, breathing in and breathing out. I co-create in grace, in peace and joy. And with curiosity, I trust that whatever happens today is for my highest and greatest good. Life is not happening to me, it's happening for me. I surrender any and all need to control, to dominate. I criticize and condemn no one, especially the one in the mirror. I pause. I breathe in and I breathe out. I allow my authentic self to shine brightly as I give thanks for the time that I'm here to love, to create, to welcome riches on all levels into my life. And so we give thanks for this wonderful community where we come together to remind each other that we are each individualized expressions of the divine. We really have nothing to do and nowhere to go but to remember. So we give thanks for all the good in our lives, and we give thanks for all of our struggles. We give thanks for all of it. We give thanks for the teachers who have walked on this planet before us, whose shoulders we stand on. And mostly we give thanks that life is so simple that all we have to do in gratitude is to love, to give, and to receive. And for this wisdom we give thanks. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. Love being here with you today. Okay, here's the deal. I've been a minister since the beginning of time, almost. I've been at many, many different churches all over the country and into Europe. And here's what happens. The senior minister goes out of town and the ties go way down. We don't want that to happen today.
No.
We want to know that, we want to tell Reverend Don that he can leave and the church is just fine, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So, I got to tell you this one story. There's a big church near my home, and one Sunday morning I was out walking. It was about 9 o'clock, and I thought, you know, I've never been in that church. I'm going to go in there. So I went in, and the lady came up to me and said, "Are you new?" And I said, "I am." And they said, "Well, let's put you in the front row." And I said, "No, I think I'll just sit in the back." And I noticed they started the service by doing the offering. And there was a huge, huge lit up cross behind him, behind the minister. And the minister said, "Do you see this cross? He died for you, so dig deep into your pockets." And I went, I don't get to do that as a religious science minister. I'm teasing, but let's dig deep, just for Reverend Don so he knows he can go. And so this wonderful organization can keep going. I know churches all over the country have folded, and I'm so proud that you've all kept things going. So let's just take our gifts in hand and let's put into our heart, because this is where we welcome more abundance in our lives. And we know that as we give, we receive. And please join me in the affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Thank you, God.
And so it is. Thank you.
I will make a quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet There were so many little nuggets that Judy left us with, and that was definitely part of what I announced, right? She was gonna leave us with a lot of nuggets, so it was really hard to break down. See, but the things that stood out most to me was authentically loving, being authentic and loving and compassionate, but especially to the one in the mirror. That's so important, because when we love ourselves and we're compassionate to ourselves, our capacity grows and grows and grows, that we are able to do that for others. So, yes. And then, repeat after me, please. Life is happening for me.
Life is happening for me.
Not to me.
Not to me.
And so it is.
So it is.